And hello, happy Thursday to everybody. I uh, I apologize for not being up in the streaming for the last bit, but lots of things happening around the homestead here, and figured there's some stuff happening that I needed to talk to you all about. Well, so far as my surgery, it is this coming Monday, and so I've been preparing for that, going to the uh, the VA and getting my testing, the all the pre-op stuff done. So Monday, and then from there we'll get the physical therapy done. Have a couple of weeks of down before I can start the physical therapy, but that's the way it is. So some exciting stuff. If we go back to the very first day that I joined the People's Convoy on the 23rd of February of 22, which is when we had left the Atalanto Stadium. From that day and to continuing, the objective was to end the state of emergency. The state of emergency is what the mandates are based upon, whether it be the vaccine mandates, whether it be mandates for mask wearing, and so on and so forth. Um, and it's always been my position to continue to fight to end the state of emergency. Now, the state of emergency was actually applied on March 13th of 2020 by then President Trump, and it's been renewed. Now, see, here's the thing: every 6 months there has to be a congressional review to the national emergency. And in Pelosi's 117th, it was always done through the rules committee. Never a debate on the House floor. Then you have to ask, how do you end a state of emergency? But back up just a moment. The state of emergency is what is giving them the power over us at this moment. The state of emergency is what gives Big Pharma the ability to get from the FDA an emergency use authorization. The state of emergency is what allows the government to give money to everyone, it seems. It is the quintessential piece that allows them to just simply step over the top of us, throw money around like it's water. And that's where it has always been my thing, is to end the state of emergency. It has always been my statement since the day I started this, which was actually on the 21st of February, coming up on 1 year now, going to DC, back to California, back to DC, back home, and starting a walk on July 2nd. It's always been about the state of emergency, ending the state of emergency. Well, several things. You look at why I had to end the walk. Medically, I had to come back and prepare for surgery. Jump through all the hoops that the VA needed me to jump through. And in my mind, I sat there in Effingham, Illinois, thinking we're just days away from the election, November 8th, 2022. And then the election occurs. We see things all over the country that are questionable. With that, I have to be careful because they're striking and censoring all of us for saying the wrong words. But you know what I'm getting at. At the same time, I thought the 117th is done. There is absolutely nothing that we can bring to bear as the people to make any change in the 117th. So let me get home, get this shoulder fixed, regroup, and find out what is it that we have to do, what do I need to do, and what do we, the people of the United States, need to do to end this menagerie. On March 8th, I was in with Senators Cruz and Johnson. And if you go back to my website at graywolfwalk.com, you will see and you will hear me in that meeting that we had, kind of biting the head off of a reporter, telling him that this will end when this menagerie ends. None of that has changed. Not one single iota. Will it change going forward? Yes. Yes, it will. Because our country is in grave trouble. But it still needs to look at the state of emergency as being our first step. Well, I am happy to say, let me give you some updates about that state of emergency. Coming back, I thought I'll get a hold of some congressmen, which I did. I tried to get a hold of several congressmen, left messages, and was able to talk to the chief of staff of one, and talk about the state of emergency and ending the state of emergency. Now, you probably will remember that we had spoken many, many times about House Joint Resolution 46 in the 117th Congress. That would be this over here. What is it that this particular resolution did? Well, it called on Section 202 of USC 50, 1622 Alpha 1 for a joint resolution of Congress to end the state of emergency. But it got hung up in committee. So there was a discharge petition number 12, to try and pull it from committee, get the 218 votes necessary to pull it from the committee, and put it on the floor for a vote. This never occurred and would not occur in the lame duck post-election 2022 to be able to move it forward, to move the needle. So we needed to get with the 118th Congress. We did. Paul Gozer of Arizona was the author of HJ Res 46. And Paul Gozer filed HJ Res number 7 in the House of Representatives on the 118th Congress. And my friends, that hit the floor yesterday. It passed the House yesterday. So what did we see? We saw that it was introduced on the 9th of January, and it passed yesterday, the 118th, which means now it goes on to the Senate. It's a joint resolution. Now, joint resolutions, as I have been looking at, are a lot like a bill. The joint resolution, yes, I wasn't sure about it, but I am now, does in fact have to go to the resident after going through the Senate. But a lot of people are asking, what does the Senate feel about this? Well, if we go back to December and we and we look at the Senate bill, or the Senate resolution, which was Senate Joint Resolution 63, they passed it in the Senate back in November, actually, of 2022. And they passed it with a 61 to 37 vote. And when we look at the actual record of the vote, we see that 11 Democrats voted in favor to end this menagerie. So, with HJ Res 7 going back to the Senate now in the 118th Congress, I don't think it's going to be a problem for it to pass the Senate. But here's your call to action, people. Call your senator and ensure them, especially if you have a Democrat senator, and inform them that coming to their bill or coming to their chamber is House Joint Resolution number 7. And you want them to vote yes or yay on House Joint Resolution 7. We don't need that many, but we pass the Senate. So let's talk about what happens if this does in fact pass the Senate. We don't have a date for that yet, but we're watching this. You got the House passes it, and you get the Senate passes it, joint resolution to terminate state of emergency. It goes to the resident. He'll veto it. Rest assured, he will veto this bill or this resolution. Because the only joint resolution that doesn't go to the resident's desk is an amendment. That's the only thing that doesn't go to the resident's desk. So, you know, if we wanted to try and get a 28th Amendment process, for instance. So what happens if he vetoes it? Well, that's where we need 2/3 of the House. That's 290 members to overrule the veto, to override this veto. So you need a call to action to start calling your Democrat representatives and letting them know that when House Joint Resolution 7 comes back with the veto from President Biden, that you want them to vote yay for override. So those are your two call to actions, people. This ends the state of emergency when it's processed. Biden has no intention to ending the state of emergency. Too much money is going into Big Pharma's hands. It also is tied to control via vaccine. Again, Big Pharma, the vaccines. So it's important and it's imperative that that remains our focus to end the state of emergency. Now, this is where you can see that overriding a veto is 2/3 of the House of Representatives. So 2/3 of 435, that's 290 seats. They passed HJ Res 7. $229 excuse me, to $197. So this has still been my objective, and it has not changed in a year now. But I said earlier that objectives need to come into play that are more above that. Election theft comes to mind. But step back a moment. We end the state of emergency. We require that they change the National Emergencies Act of 1976, either abolish it and redo it so that no president or administration in the future can ever call a state of emergency the way that this one for the last 3 years has been done. That change must occur. And then we need to hold them accountable. If you go to greywolfwalk.com, it's been on my website. This is exactly what I have been saying now for just coming up on a year now. We need to end the state of emergency, change the state of emergency, the National Emergencies Act, and we need to hold those that have abused the state of emergency to squash our constitutional rights, our God-given rights, hold them accountable. Now, election theft needs to come up on the table. Once my surgery is done, we're still working on how it is that we're going to do this. One thing has become perfectly clear. In all the states I went across, I wasn't able to get the people out. We're seeing the people. We're seeing the people in other countries are standing up. They're standing up. It really, at this point, doesn't matter if nothing happens or if it doesn't move the needle until it comes from the United States. If we can't get Americans to get off their ass and stand up to save this country, we are doomed. That's the point of it. And I speak not of going to DC, landing at Dulles Airport or at Reagan National, and going into DC and having everybody meet me there. That's not the case. There's this little thing called the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment gives the sovereignty to the states. It is the states that carry the power. I want to see walks in the capitals, not just gatherings. I want to see millions of people walking into their state houses, like that of Arizona, like that of my home state of Nevada, in Carson City, which, oh, by the way, has a rally on February 18th. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, all 50 states have a rally at their state houses on the 18th of February, coming up soon, in just 16 days. Try to get there. Mingle, network, get names, phone numbers. When we have the people that we see in our state house gatherings, and we explain that this is just the beginning, and we get those people to join in with the other state capital rally groups, I think we can grow this, what I've been trying to do for almost a year. Get the people, grow the people, and let the government know that they work for us. This is a constitutional republic, not a democracy. We use democracy, like we saw in the first week of this year with the Speaker of the House, the election, Matt Gaetz, Boebert, Biggs, all of these individuals holding it up and saying, no, we're not just going to say McCarthy because we need to know that he is going to do the right thing. And if not, we'll throw other names at this. And the fact that they got him to agree to having a motion to vacate off of a single individual, that's a big thing. That's a really big thing. So that makes him toe the line. That makes him a gray hat. So we watched that. I was somewhat depressed today when I heard him say that he believed that the officer, Michael Byrd, shot Ashley Babbitt was doing his job, not, and basically didn't say anything about murder. We all know that Michael Byrd murdered an innocent civilian, unarmed, could see she was unarmed, and shot her. And he needs to be tried for that. So we're putting on our thinking caps and we're trying to think, what is it that we are going to be able to do? We couldn't get people to come out on the walk. We couldn't get enough people to come in to go and shut down DC, which would require magnitudes of more people than ever was seen in this year. We need to let them know. Blow up the phone lines, blow up the emails, blow up the letter writing campaigns. But we need to let them know. HJ Res 7 is coming to the Senate. Vote for that. And when the resident vetoes it, we need to convert Democrats because we got 229 on the first pass. We need 30 more to do an override when it's vetoed to end this menagerie known as a state of emergency. Now, I'm working on communications with individuals to adapt or get rid of and redo the National Emergencies Act of 1976. That has to be done too. But keep in touch. Let's keep the faith. We're all depressed over what's going on, me included. We don't like what it is that we're seeing in this country. We don't like seeing these drag queens that are shaking their stuff in front of our kids at the libraries, or the parents that take them there, or this sudden growth of transgenderism that's all of a sudden all over the place. It's as though they're trying to make us feel like we're the wrong ones. They'll never get me to do that. Well, thanks, Sunshine, the Sunshine State. Um, I am in the process, or I should say, I will be in the process of trying to get on with Scott McKay, the Patriot Street Fighter, and go from there. We are trying to work on some things. We've got a person working on PR with us to try and set the items needed to go forward. We're going to definitely need to have um, uh, a campaign to raise funds, a fundraising campaign. We're going to attempt to get some corporate sponsorship. And I've got some feelers out trying to get Mike Lindell on that. Patriot, for Patriot, maybe Patriot Switch, a few of them. We'll see. We'll see what we can get. Get some corporate sponsorship. Maybe we can get them to sponsor some product that we put up on a silent auction. But we do need the fundraising campaigns. We do need people to go to graywolfwalk.com. I apologize that I haven't put any updates out there, but right now in my head is this surgery, getting this shoulder redone, getting the surgery out of the way, and taking care of some things here at home. Oh, let me ask you all a question. Have you noticed all over social media this conversation about chickens not laying eggs? Pretty interesting. When you see dozens of chicken farmers, some of them doing it 30, 40 years, saying their chickens just stopped laying eggs. That's interesting. I started doing some digging into that. I have hens, and my chickens stopped laying eggs altogether back in September. So, why? People say, well, they just naturally slow down in the winter. Yes, that's true. But with 14 hens in the winter, I would still see 4 or 5 eggs in the winter and lots more in the summer. But to dry up completely in September. Then I noticed other chicken farmers around the country were all saying the same thing. Their chickens stopped laying eggs. So we started looking into that. And I found a woman who did the research and found that by changing her hens stopped laying eggs back in July. 40 to 45 hens just stopped laying eggs back in July. So she changed her feed. She was using Tractor Supply feed, which another person found that the Tractor Supply feed was packaged by Purina for Tractor Supply. This individual found that the number one egg producer commercially in the country was bought by Land O'Lakes, who also owns Purina. Coincidence? Then we look at the report that came out just yesterday that I saw this morning that shows that in eggs there is an antibiotic or an I lost the word, but what it antibody. Thank you. An antibody that is in the yolk of the egg that dismisses spike proteins. What could that be? Yeah, conspiracy theories, right? You got to love them. Why would they want to eliminate the chickens from laying eggs that have an antibody that takes out spike proteins? The spike proteins that could be in the jab? Just saying. Well, I put this to the test. I changed my hen's feed 7 days ago after 7 months of not laying any eggs. And today, one of my hens laid an egg. And that may not seem like a lot to you, but that's pretty damn big to me. Because that's what everyone that I researched said is a week after changing their feed, things will change. So they're doing something to try and either A, starve us out, or B, take away our ability to get the yolks of these eggs. So now rolled oats, goat chow is what I've moved them to. It's got some molasses in there. It's got all these different grains. They love it. Douglas, I get my surgery on Monday. So the conspiracy theory is no longer a conspiracy theory for me. They said 1 week after changing, and you will see a difference. And 7 days, exactly 7 days from changing the feed, Mr. T and I were out there cleaning out some of the laying boxes, putting in some new laying pads. And this one of my wine dots, a silver wine dot, silver laced wine dot, kept coming up and getting right in front of Mr. T, and then getting in the box, nothing in there, and looking at him like, I got to do something here. So we finished cleaning it up, got them all put in there, and she hopped up in the box there. We went up to the feed store, got some more supplies, got some wooden eggs to put in there to kind of entice them. Come back. She was in the box, and I said, may I? She stood up. I put the egg underneath her. She kind of curled it back up underneath her and sat down on it and plopped out an egg. Yes. Anyway, that was my day. I know, it gets you excited. It got me excited over my chicken laying an egg. But you have to see the fact that it's not just my chickens, it's across this country. So free ranging, table scraps, and anything but Purina or Tractor Supply feed. Goat chow, rolled oats, black sunflower seeds, that kind of stuff. Seems to do quite well. Yes, I saw the Chinese balloon, and I also saw a comment that Biden wanted to have the military take it down, but that the Pentagon told him no. Since when does the Pentagon tell the commander in chief, no? Anyway, so they're not going to shoot down this Chinese spy balloon that's currently going over the United States. So I guess I don't know. It's probably up around 65 to 85,000 feet, something like that. So look, I think some hard times are coming, and I do believe that Americans aren't hurting enough. Thank you for that. It's over Montana. Um, they're not hurting enough to get out and do something. So we're going to try and concentrate on how we can get them to Americans to wake up, smell the cappuccino, and come out at least and do their states and let the government know that we've had enough. Arizona, are you listening? Let's do this. Let's get to these state houses and let's let them know that we know that they're cheating on us. We know how they're doing it. We know why they're doing it. We know who they're doing it for. We're not stupid. We do our own citizen journalists. We don't listen to the MSNBCs, the CNNs, the ABCs, and so on, CBS. We don't listen to them anymore because all they do is perpetrate lies. So we don't listen to them. So I wanted to give you all this update. And tomorrow morning, I do have to go in and get my COVID test. But a little secret is, just in case there's something on the swab, I've already taken ivermectin. So, and I'll take it again probably Saturday, just to make sure they're not going to be giving me something. And then wait for my call on Monday to get this thing rebuilt. It's not going to be an easy one. They're telling me that this could be a 6 to 8 week healing. I really hope that it's not, but I did get a call the other day that said that they're not even going to let me do any physical therapy for 2 weeks in post-op. 2 weeks from post-op date. So let's keep this going. Let people know we're going to be doing change to the website. We are going to be bringing up another website. I'm going to go ahead and drop it. I wasn't going to drop it, but I'm going to go ahead and drop it. We've had a website for quite some time. We've just been waiting. We're going to build it up. And you guys can help. You can help put it out there. It's just plain Jane right now. It doesn't do anything, but we're going to grow it. We're going to grow it. I actually have 2 of them. The first one I've had for about 3 years. I set it up because I thought that it was important that Patriots come together and create a roster. Get ready to post links. PatriotRoster.com is one that I've had for about 3 years now to try and build a roster of individuals. Now, that has been hacked to the nth degree. So you may have a problem trying to register. Be patient. We will look at that. Because I've had to put some bots in there to say, are you real? Let me send you an email. And when you respond to that email, then I'll let you activate. We have the complete constitutional documents of the United States indexed on that website. We have information on how to be ready when the communications go down, what you should have, things of this nature. So the PatriotRoster.com is going to get a facelift and brought up to par. But the one that I'm kind of excited about getting in there and digging in, why didn't you do something? .net. So that one's coming up. Right now, it's just a placekeeper. But it does bring up a lot of questions, right? Just looking for an artist that can do a one-off piece of art for me on it. I'm envisioning an Uncle Sam standing there with the Constitution melting between his fingers and his pants on fire. And behind him is a map of the United States with the flag on fire, tears rolling down his cheeks as he's saying, why didn't you do something? .net. Stay tuned. Oh, yeah. All right, folks. So that's it. I just wanted to give you all of this information. The HJ Res 7. Yay. We got more in the first 9 days of the 118th than we did an entire year in the 117th. Now we just have to keep fighting that. We need to end the state of emergency. So I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Love all of you. Stay tuned. We're not gone yet. We're going to continue this fight. Peace. God bless you. God bless the United States.